start this new one on taping this outside seams, and I've already got the far side done. I wanted to do that before I start filming to make certain that I still remember how to do it. So let me reset up and we'll point down here into what we're going to be doing. First I'm going to wet out the seam. I've already cut this tape and this tape to the 45s, and it's an idea I'm going to keep. And so I've got about what is the graduation? So I'll have to look again. It's 40 and 60, so I don't know if that's milliliters or what. I certainly wish, be glad when the U.S. goes to a metric system and get rid of fractions and ounces. Such a pain. And also when you're doing this, make sure you wear your gloves. I get tired of watching videos on YouTube or links at Duckworks from guys working with epoxy and they never wear their gloves. Give it a good coat. If you give it a good coat now, you won't have to mess around with the brush some more. Okay. Line it up on your straight edge. Press it down. You might even give it a little bit of help while it's flat like this. And then use your, which I think is the absolute best brush in the world, is an old used toothbrush or a new one. In fact, I got a couple of new ones at his discount store. It was a grocery outlet for 50 cents each. Just roll it down and try to not have any slack in the on the radius here. Just kind of roll it over, push it in. Make sure you don't push too hard where you're pull it off, and then just kind of blot it along. Probably start up here on the radius, and then if you have drips or whatever, they'll drip down into the area that needs to be wetted out. I'll give you a little idea of what we're doing on the corner here. Wet it out. Now I've got tape down in here to keep the epoxy off the rails. I should have a little more right down there. There. My head a little, and then just launch your lines, and then just press it down into the corner. We'll wet it out down there a little bit better. Another thing you want to do is take your scissors and relieve some of the tension along there so it'll lay in better. Okay, now I got my little corners in here to pull out. This will get covered with the glass tape on top, so I don't worry about that little bit there being missing. Well, I'm down to the last tape, and I've also went from these upper line mixes down to these lower color mixes, because I would rather, even if I just have a little bit left, I won't use this cup. I'll go to even smaller cups so I don't waste epoxy. If you have extra epoxy, be sure to have some little leftover material cut into strips so you can make your own extra clamps like I have, those wooden clamps with the screws in. I had some easy fillet left over, and so I thought usually I use the silver tip here for making the clamp, so I thought, and once in a while I'll use Gel Magic, but I thought, well, we'll see how the easy fillet does it. It works too. So if you have extra left over, make clamps. You can never have enough clamps. Of course, that depends on how many boats you build and how big. If I built any of my 16-foot designs, I need a lot of clamps and a bigger shop. I'll do the right, we'll come back when I'm putting the tape on. Laying on the tape. And this tape is going to have a curve to it. So you want to be ready when you get down here to the curvy part to start doing a little bit of twist to it. Get over here, fold over. I think it worked better when on the other side I started to bow and went to the transom. Also, you want to take the any of the little bubbles in here to the, spread them down to the end, but maintaining your line. have to do this a couple times. Press it in at the same time. And start in the middle. And start folding it over like that to the end. And that takes the weave and pushes it that direction. Fuzz balls everywhere. It's like petting the dog. Don't touch your nose. Okay. Now we'll start in the middle. Sometimes it helps to make a back and forth action. So that way if you grab a little bit of weave, you can flush it back the other direction where it came from. Probably going to have to make another cup, but I'll go to a smaller one this time. I want to get this top part wetted down and the edge here. Get that wetted down too. You'll notice when I dip in, I'll do a roll. I'll do a roll like that, and that keeps the drips to a minimum. Now I'll start the other direction. Got a little fold right in here, but if you just go back and forth in the same spot, it just kind of fills itself in. The glass cloth here gets narrow, the gaps, as opposed to taking it all to the end and having it stretch, distorted. There. I'm going to go mix up some more in a little batch. Just go around looking for dry areas. A lot of this will be wet out by the time I come back. Be sure I wet the corners down good here, so I'll have something. I switched over my little X-Acto knife. That utility knife I had wasn't cutting it. Now you want to go around and just take your putty knife and just go after and kill any runs. Try not to disturb the tape. Now on the inside I didn't coat the plywood with epoxy. Normally I used to skim coat it with that. The last couple boats I've just painted out the parts that didn't get, buff up the epoxy. So it'll take a paint, but you just want to, on the outside, I will give it a full scraping of epoxy, because I find that if I do, I can get an almost like fiberglass finish on the hull. The wood sometimes, especially with the LPUs, will telegraph through the grain. And then this is a cheaper plywood. I don't believe it's a Kumi. Some may be, but it's kind of grainy. Okay, I'll finish this. We'll come back And we'll sand down the selvage where the on the edge of the tape where it gets rolled over and woven back. It stands proud, so you got to shave it down. Then we'll fill it in with some threading compound.